Hello and welcome to another episode of the James Granström podcast, Super Soul Model Series. Everything on this show is designed to help uplift you and inspire you to tap and tune in to your natural state of well-being. Today's show is all about how to become more abundant. If you're enjoying the show, please remember to like, subscribe and share. Everything we do on this podcast is designed to help uplift and inspire and help you tap into your natural state of well-being. And that is the greatest gift, that we become conduits of well-being to each other. So how do you become more abundant? In truth, you already are abundant, but just you might forget it. And so what I'm going to do on this show today is remind you that you're abundant by giving you 12 ways in which you can enhance your level of abundance. And that includes everything from money, health, relationships, your natural sense of well-being, your vitality, peace of mind, connection to life or source energy or God or whatever you want to call it, and of course, good living and your own sense of freedom. Anyway, how to become more abundant. Number one, you've got to notice all the good that surrounds you in your life right now. If you don't notice all the good, what's going to happen is that good will fade away, because whatever you focus on will grow. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Back in 2005, I was really struggling. I was having a real challenge, abundantly, financially. And one of the things that I managed to do to turn it around was start to practice being more grateful, noticing all the good in my life. And I personally believe that gratitude, which I've done a whole podcast on, will literally transform your life. But what you have to recognize is that when you notice all the good going on in your life, what that does is, scientifically, it activates this thing in the back of your neck called the reticular activating system, which says that which you notice, you'll see again. So if you ever buy a car and you're driving that car, you'll notice more of that car on the road. And it's exactly the same with how your mind works. Your mind works by where you place your attention. So if you're placing your attention on all the good things in your life, what's going to happen is your mind's going to show you more of the good. So simply by practicing gratitude, simply by noticing and blessing all the good going on in your life, this is an incredible way to increase your levels of abundance in your life. You're already abundant, so I'm here to remind you that you're abundant. So remember that reticular activating system is always at work in the back of your mind, and it's always noticing what you're giving your attention to. So if you're noticing and giving your attention to the little things that are working out for you and the little blessings in your life on a day-to-day basis, you will get more. And according to Matthew in the Bible, it says, "To he who hath, more shall be given, and to he who hath not, more shall be taken away." What does that actually mean in today's language? Basically what it means is, to the person who says he has enough, more shall be added. To the person who says he doesn't have enough, more shall be taken away. So when you notice that you have enough, you will have enough. And when you notice that you don't have enough, you won't. And that's your brain's reticular activating system at work. Some people may say it's the universe at work, because the universe is always responding to what you're giving your attention to. So it's the same in your brain, whether it be scientific with the reticular activating system or the law of attraction. And one of the quickest ways is to remind yourself that you always have enough. So when you bless all the good in your life, what you're doing is you're noticing all the good. And that basically is allowing that reticular activating system and the universe simultaneously to give you more blessings, to give you more good. Oh, you like that good? You like those blessings? Let me give you more. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, let me give you some more of that. And so when you notice what you have that's really good, you're going to get more. So there's a real art to this. And noticing what you have and noticing all the good and blessing all the good and recognizing all the good allows that reticular activating system of yours to work for you and will bring you more and more abundance. Or should I say, will reveal to you more and more abundance. Number two, your inner self-talk. Your inner self-talk is pivotal in being able to access more abundance in your life. How you talk to yourself and how you talk to the world, how you talk to other people is either positive and abundant, or it's full of lack. Thoughts become feelings. Feelings are like emotions, and emotions are energy in motions, and that is broadcasted from your heart energy. That is an electromagnetic impulse that is sent out. So how you talk to yourself is basically the dialogue that you're having with the world and your environment. It's like your radio broadcast that you're broadcasting today. So how you talk to yourself and how you talk to others about what's going on in your life and how well it's going on or not how great it's going on. Basically, the subconscious mind is always picking up about what you're talking, because in spiritual truth, you're only really ever talking to yourself. The subconscious mind is always picking up. You need to own where you're at, but then talk optimistically about the direction that you're going. So that is really key. When you make peace with where you're at, then you can start to generally move forwards positively. One of my friends a few years ago made me really understand his principle. And my friend wasn't aware of what he was doing, but because I love to study patterns, I was watching and listening to what he was saying, and I was watching the evidence that was happening in his life as I was sort of discerning and figuring out why he was becoming more and more abundant. And it was because of this little simple principle. Even though he wasn't where he wanted to be, he kept on saying, oh, I'm getting there. Oh, it's getting there. You know, I'm figuring it out as I go along. It's coming together. Even though he was never there, eventually when he did arrive, not so long after that, to a level where I was like, wow, you've absolutely nailed it. You're smashing it right now. You're having a great time. I noticed that you're drawing so many wonderful opportunities and financial income towards you. What are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm not sure. And then I worked it out. It was that the whole time he'd been talking optimistically about his situation, even though he hadn't arrived. When you're on a journey and it's maybe from London to Edinburgh, the whole time you're not there. But if you can talk optimistically and head in that direction, as if you're going in that direction and you're setting the intent to go in that direction, you're going to arrive because you know your destination. But if you keep on the whole way of that 6 or 7 hour journey of saying, I'm not there, it's terrible, isn't it terrible? You know, what's that doing to your mindset? Basically, what that's doing is setting you up for failure. So you reveal your abundant nature. You reveal the abundance that's within you by talking optimistically as you're on your way. So plus that gives you greater inner peace. Plus it gives you a little bit more happiness when you're on your way talking optimistically, because talking negatively slows your energy down and talking positively uplifts your energy and speeds it up. So one of the ways in which you can practically apply this inner dialogue is ask yourself, why am I so abundant? Why am I so lucky? Why do I receive wonderful opportunities? What if wonderful things presented themselves to me today? What if I noticed more and more abundance in my life? What if I noticed more and more opportunities today? What you're doing is you're setting your mindset up to receive rather than closing it down by saying, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. When I was growing up, I had that program that was, from my parents that I picked up, even though I was came from a good family and we seemed to have enough, the program that I had was, I don't have enough. And so it was always as if I was chasing the tail until I changed my inner dialogue, which says, well, what if I actually do have enough? And then when I notice mentioning that I have enough, and then what if I do have enough? And then why am I enough? Basically, things began to shift fairly quickly. So if you notice you're having any programs and from old past conditioning, your inner dialogue is the first thing that you could really notice in step number 2. Number 3, spend time and invest in healthy relationships. Jim Rohn said, the 5 people that you spend time with the most is the income that you're going to have. How you spend your time, where you invest your energy in loving relationships is basically the financial revenue that can be picked up vibrationally that will come back to you. And this makes a lot of sense. But at the beginning, you may have no wealthy people around you. At the beginning, you may have only books to look into or podcasts to listen to. But what you can do is invest in yourself. So when I first started and I had no money whatsoever and I was in debt, what I recognized was one of the first things I needed to do was start reading, start educating. So I'd surround myself with people who'd written incredible books, multimillionaires who'd had the stories of things that had been where they'd managed to pivot and turn and create success. So start surrounding yourself and start creating an environment around you and invest in relationships that are uplifting, because one of the quickest ways to reveal your abundant nature is to spend time around people who are uplifting and positive in nature. If you're spending any time with people who aren't uplifting and have unhealthy habits or aren't going places, then they're not the right people to spend time with, because that's never going to take your energy higher. It's going to keep it the same. So if you're looking to go places, if you're looking to create a fantastic and fabulous lifestyle, then it's really important that you begin to hang around and invest time in relationships with people who are going places. And you will feel through your heart and through your soul whether this is a great relationship or not, because if it's making you feel happier and higher naturally, then it's great for you. So spending time with people that you love, spending time with friends that are uplifting, spending time with people who inspire you and uplift, that is the best people to hang around. And just as a caveat here, the people who really care for you, your real friends, they just want you to be happy. They don't want anything from you except your happiness. So you know a real friend is not like someone who is wanting to get something back from you. A real friend is someone who generally has your back and wants you to be happy. And be that person for someone else. Number 4, become more organized. When you become more organized, it just means that your mind is more organized and your environment is more organized. This is exactly what a wealthy person would do. This isn't exactly what an abundant person would do. They would have their affairs in good order. Because if your affairs aren't in order, what that means is it creates chaos. And that creates chaos emotionally inside your mind, emotionally inside your body, which creates stress. So being organized is a real route to revealing your abundant nature. So one of the things that I always love to tell myself is, why are my financial affairs in good order? And that means that I can start making sure and having clarity in my financial figures and in my metrics about what I'm spending my money on and what's coming in is in balance. Notice all that you're spending and spend less than you earn. Appreciate all the money that's coming in and all the money that's going out. Simplify everything that you have. So keep the quality and omit the rest. It's better to have less clothes in your wardrobe, but the very best clothes that you constantly want to wear, rather than a whole range of stuff that you'll never wear. A rich person has an organized environment and an organized mindset, and a poor person has a chaotic environment and a chaotic mindset. One of the greatest things I've learned about this is that when you're able to manage what you have, however small, the universe will give you more to manage. That is just a universal principle, because like attracts like. Number 5, write it down. Write down your plans. List your daily likes. List your daily successes at the end of the day. What were my successes at the end of the day? I play this game with myself every single day. What were the 5 greatest successes I had today? What 5 things did I really like about another person today? What 5 things did I really like about myself that I brought to the table today? When you're looking at yourself and looking at others and appreciating them and writing things down, you're focusing. And what you focus on, of course, grows. And when you're focusing on the best, the universe will bring you more of the best, which creates a greater level of abundance. I love to play this game with myself. Dear universe, orchestrate for me an unexpected gift for me today, and bring it in such a way that I really recognize. When I play this game every single day and I get knocked out by an incredible sunset, or a wonderful gift that turns up to me in the post, or a nice text message, or whatever it is, this unexpected gift creates this level of abundance in my life, which makes me think, you know what, I'm connected to something bigger. When you're connected to the universe and you're connected to life itself, you're going to feel so much more abundant, and you're not just this little vessel of life trying to manipulate and control everything. You're connected to something so much bigger. So playing this little game of writing down, dear universe, bring to me an unexpected gift for me today, creates that level of abundance in my life. And it will for you when you play it every single day. But you've got to play it, and then you've got to notice and be on the lookout for the little blessings and unexpected gifts that come your way. I'm always mesmerized by the little gifts that show up for me. And if you have any, when you receive an unexpected gift, make sure that you tell me what your gift is online so we can have this conversation, because this is such a fun game to play. And also ask the universe, dear universe, write it down. Bring me more fun today. Bring me more fun people to play with. Bring me more fun things in my life. One of the things I asked for was bring me more fun during lockdown. And one of the things I got was a new comedy show to watch. So we've been laughing so much, which has been great. Another 20 minutes of laughing every single day makes such a huge impact on your general well-being and your abundance levels. Because the happier you are, the more abundance you will attract. Another thing is segment intending. I learned this from Abraham Hicks. Write down how you want to feel. Write down what you want to accomplish. When you write stuff down, your brain knows what the outcome is going to be, what you are wanting to achieve, what you're wanting to move towards. When you know your outcome, you'll know where you're going. And that is a sign of clarity. And clarity is also a sign of abundance. Number 6 on the list, giving. Give generously to other people. Give generously also to yourself. When you add value to other people's lives, whether it's through your energy, whether it's through your money, whether it's through, a kind card or a nice gesture or whatever it might be, or a present that you get for someone, give generously to other people, because this is a universal law. There was a book I read years ago called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it suggested that the richest people were philanthropers, and they would give a portion of their money, like a tenth of their money, or tithing, to create more abundance back in their lives. But the way that it was almost said in the book was that if I do that, that creates like this transaction. I'm going to give you a tenth so I receive more. But that is not actually how it works. What you actually have to do is give from the heart for it to come back. So when you give love and you give compassion, you give kindness, and maybe you're giving and investing back into yourself, that's a form of giving, whether it be reading, educating yourself. Maybe it's also giving to a cause that you think is honourable for you, for whatever that may be. When you give from the heart, that's what compounds and comes back. So invest into something that's going to uplift you, and invest in something that could uplift others. And it doesn't necessarily need to be financial, but by all means do. What it has to do is it has to come from this open heart and a sense of joy, because that is true giving, and that will open the doors to greater abundance in your life. Number 7, believe you're worthy and deserving. Worthiness issues is probably the number one cause of challenge that every human will face at some point. And once you get your mindset set up correctly, some people are already born into this, some people aren't. But for those of you who are not, who are probably listening on this channel, it means that you are now reconditioning or learning how to condition your mind to open up the floodgates to greater abundance in your life. And one of the ways you can do this is by playing a game with the universe. Dear universe, show me how wonderful and worthy I am today. Dear universe, show me how good I am today. When you ask the universe, it has to give you back what you've asked for. The universe is like a dream machine giving you back what you want, but you have to be in the receptive mode to receive the answer, because the question and the answer are on 2 different frequencies. The question is a lower frequency than the answer, because whatever you're asking for has to be a higher vibe than where you started. So it's almost as if you're playing a game the whole time with life. And so when you're asking yourself better questions and you're asking from the universe to show you how good you are, it's got to show you. Most people go around asking, or without them even realizing that they say to themselves, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve that. Because when you were a child between the ages of about 2 and 7, you were told no over 20,000 times a year. Can you believe that? And so what does that say to the child mind? It says, I can't do that. But at some point, when you still watch children, they still are in awe, thinking, oh, I wonder what's possible. I wonder what's possible. And now we're trying to return to that sort of level of mind, but now with the experience. So once you have some experience in your life and you can open up your mind, what will happen is you will allow the floodgates of abundance to open. So one of the things you can say to yourself, again, is an affirmation. Why do I deserve great things? Why do I deserve the best? Why am I more than enough? If you ask the question, and if you say to yourself like an affirmation, you could say to yourself, I am enough. That is great. But if you don't believe it, it's not going to help. That's why asking yourself, why am I enough, will show you that you're enough. And when I started to do this, I recognized the little changes that would happen, not only in my mind, but in the relaxing of my body, because your body relaxes when you ask it an empowering question, and it tenses up when you ask disempowering questions. It is great to do affirmations. It is great to do affirmations like I am enough or I deserve the best. But you need to do that from a high vibe perspective, which means you need to do it when you know you're feeling great. Because if you're doing it from a place when you don't feel great, it's going to backfire. And that's what I've been doing for almost 15 years. So when I started doing the affirmations, formations from Noah St. John, and asking better questions, asking more empowering questions, that's when I began to reshape and rewire my brain. And you can too. And you will open your mind when you say to yourself, why do I deserve the best? Why do I believe in myself? Why am I good enough? Why am I more than enough? And your brain will have to show you the filter of your mind through your reticular activating system where you are all of those things, because the answer is in the question. One of the other ways is do your affirmations first thing in the morning, looking in the mirror, but you have to be on a high vibe. I've often found that when I'm super pumped and I'm absolutely buzzing, that is a great time to do an actual affirmation, which is I am awesome, or I am brilliant, or I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. After a while, you just believe these things, but a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. But when you ask yourself, why am I wonderful? Why am I worthy? Why am I deserving? Why do I deserve the best in life? Your mind will have to show you. That's when things become really exciting and you will open the floodgates to greater abundance. Number 8, go for the best. When you go for the best, life is going to have to deliver you that back, but always ask for the deal. If you want the best of something, do it, but ask for a deal. All wealthy and abundant people do is they go for the best, but it's even better when you ask for the deal. So ask for a deal when you're trying to get that amazing jacket or that amazing clothes or that car or whatever it is that you're going for. See if you can get a deal with it. I remember waiting 9 months to get this amazing 4K TV with all the trimmings on it, and it was at such a high price, and I waited for a window and I recognized that this window opened and we got it for like a quarter of the price that it was on the market for. And that's because so many things fell into place. And you can go for the best, and if you really, really want it, it will come. But you also want to ask for the deal. So you're spending your money wisely, because if you're truly abundant, it means that you can attract what you want, but plus you can get a really good deal for it. And that's when life becomes really, really exciting, because you get the joy of getting what you really want, and you also get the joy of getting the deal at a discounted price. Because when you're really wealthy, you want to buy things when they're on the cheap, and sell them when they're really, really expensive. So buy low, sell high. And you always do that by asking for a good deal, because you are what you negotiate. And when you're abundant and you tap into this abundant thinking, what happens is you're doing all of that. Number 9, commune with nature. The more time you spend in nature, the more time you're going to see the beauty of life present itself. When you are visually reminded of all the green and the ocean and the trees and the birds and the bees, it's absolutely beautiful, because abundance is nature. For instance, you have a lack of money right now. Spend a lot more time in nature and notice all the beauty that surrounds you, and start appreciating everything that's around you in nature. It will remind you of who you are deep down at a cellular level that you've just forgotten. And when you're in nature, what's going to happen is, and you look at the stars, you're going to notice there's so many stars in the night sky. That's a wonderful way to be reminded of your infinite nature. And if you can, go and see the horizon every day, because it will remind you that it's infinite, just like you. And you need to be reminded of possibilities. You needed to be reminded of your infinite nature by spending more time in Mother Nature herself. Number 10, be discerning and don't complain. Find the positive aspects of every situation in every single day. If you can look for the positive aspects, what you're doing is you're fine-tuning your energy to give you more of that which you focus on. So if you're looking for the positive aspects, if you're looking to appreciate, if you're looking to find the best in a situation, and maybe you've been challenged by someone, but can you find the blessing in disguise? If you can always look for the silver lining when any challenge presents itself, you're going to open yourself up to greater abundance, and you become emotionally more stable. And when you're more emotionally stable, because you're looking for the blessing, because you're looking for the positive aspects, and it may be really hard to find in the moment, but if you keep training your mind to focus on what's the blessing here, what's the positive aspect here, what's the good that's come out of this here, what that does is it helps you tap into your abundant nature, and it opens the floodgates to more abundance in your life, which means more energy. Abundance is more energy available to you. Number 11, invest in your health. When you invest in your health, what that does is it creates a greater sense of vitality. Vitality is energy, and energy is contagious. And if you're having lots of fruit and veggies and healthy foods that are unprocessed, this is one of the greatest investments you can give to yourself. This is true abundance. There's no point having a load of cash if you don't have a lot of health with it. You want to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. You don't want to just be one or the other. You want to have the lot. And how do you do that? By taking great care of yourself. So stay off unprocessed foods. I have this little rule that I have with myself, which is eat 80% really healthy and 20% naughty. And that 80% is unprocessed vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, the colours of the rainbow, essentially. So it increases my vitality. In the UK, there's this thing that says, oh, you must have 5 fruit and veg a day. I'm like, no, I'm going to scrap that. I'm going to do that times 4. So I do 20 fruits and veggies a day. I mix that up in smoothies and little snacks throughout the day. And the whole purpose is I want those beautiful, healthy, organic nutrients and enzymes to come into my body so it fills me up with energy, because I know in my mission to share as much well-being as possible, I need to be high on energy, naturally high on energy. And I become naturally high on energy when I eat the fruits and vegetables that Mother Nature gives me. And you can too. So if you want to up your natural energy and you want to open the floodgates to greater abundance, then you're going to have to start eating more unprocessed foods that are very, very good for you. Eat the colours of the rainbow, start thriving, and your blood, your skin, your hair, your nails, your eyes will begin to pop with this beautiful, uplifting, natural energy, because part of abundance is having greater health and vitality and vigour. And number 12, how to become more abundant? You've got to imagine it. Great Einstein said, imagination will take you everywhere. Using your imagination to help you visualize a better future for as little as like 4 minutes a day will help you stay on track to creating and opening the floodgates of abundance to you. You've got to imagine it as if you're living it for it to eventually turn up in your present moment. A present moment basically means that your now moment has been sent to you previously. That's why it says pre-sent. So if you can visualize a better future, if you can imagine yourself in scenarios that feel amazing, where you have access to all the things that you want, maybe it's a couple of extra beautiful homes, maybe it's a satisfying job, maybe it's an incredible relationship, maybe it's wonderful kids, maybe it's tons of money in the bank and you're doing things that really uplift you, maybe it's helping charities and philanthropic work, maybe it's helping tidy up the oceans. Whatever it may be, whatever you're imagining, you're setting forth before you get there in your next future moment. And as you begin to cultivate these daily moments of visualizing, imagining it as if, what that does is it begins to flood your vibration. It begins to flood your mind with beautiful new pictures, creating an environment for you to prepare for you to step into. So imagine it first and you will eventually step into it. The great Jack Nicklaus always used to visualize his shots before he'd actually hit them. And he said that was the key to his success in golf, always imagining the shot before he played it. Now, Michael Jordan said, I've missed so many shots that I took on target. But he goes, I used to imagine the whole time me always hitting the net, always getting a swoosh. And although he was taking the action all the time, he was also imagining winning, also imagining it all coming together for him. And when it did, people thought you're great, but all you've been doing is constantly training and conditioning your mind for success. When you imagine and visualize things with this uplifting emotion, this feeling of joy, this feeling of exhilaration, this feeling of love, those elevated emotions, which is energy in motion, begin to attract those experiences to you, which you'll step into. And another way you can imagine it is by creating a vision board or a mind movie. Whatever you do, live as if this is your experience for a few moments. Pretend like you were when we were kids. We were talking about this earlier. Kids are so good at imagination. And that's what we have to return to, being able to imagine a scenario that's even better than what you're experiencing. And if you're just doing it for a small portion each day, what you're doing is you're stepping out of your current vibration and stepping into a higher one. And as you practice that, that will become and compound this greater level of abundance in your life that one day you'll be experiencing. I used to imagine having a swimming pool, and now I have a swimming pool. It sounds really silly, but I wanted this for like 30 years. And now when you have it, you're like, oh my golly, now I have that experience. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. But what matters is that you keep the end in mind. And so whenever you set out on a journey, you've got to know where you're going. So when you are visualizing, visualize for fun, visualize for the fun of it, visualize and pretend and conjure up the emotions. And eventually one day it'll be yours. So in today's episode, what you've learned is you've learned 12 ways in which you can become more abundant. You are already abundant, but you just might have forgotten. So this show was here to remind you that you really are. And I've given you some practical tools to remind you of your abundance, and so you can tap into it. In closing, just remember this: an abundant person notices what they have, and a poor person notices what they don't have. That is the simple message of this show. So in order for you to become more abundant, apply these 12 ways and watch your life begin to pivot before your very eyes. This is what's happened to me. This has been my story, and I want this for you. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the episode. And if you enjoyed it, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and go over to Apple or wherever you're listening, and please leave a review as well. And as always, I wish you green lights all the way.